This video is brought to you by the Pros Closet. Stop waiting for your dream bike and start riding it. If you're a fan of the channel, you guys know that we love riding unpaved roads, unimproved roads. Some people even call them gravel roads. But the reasons why might not be completely obvious to everybody. And as much as we love gravel roads, they do have their downsides. In this video, I'm going to share with you guys our 5 reasons why we love, but also hate gravel riding. Reason number 1, and this ranks pretty high as one of our reasons why we love gravel riding so much, is traffic, or to be more precise, the lack thereof. So generally speaking, at least here in the West, most of the gravel roads that we ride are Forest Service roads or fire roads. They tend to be less traffic. Part of it is because they go to the middle of nowhere. Also, they're a little bit rougher on your average sedan. And because of this, there are just fewer cars. For us, this makes the riding experience so much better. You can actually talk to other people while you're riding. Although you should always be fairly diligent about the potential for oncoming traffic or traffic coming up behind you. It is a lot less anxiety inducing than riding a narrow paved two-way highway with lots of traffic buzzing you constantly. Reason number 2 is that we find it more interesting than road cycling. This is going to be debatable, but generally speaking, in our experience, you see all these disclaimers you have to have as a YouTuber. I just find it more interesting visually and from a scenery perspective to ride up into the mountains or rolling green hills. That's not to say you can't find interesting scenery on the paved road ride, but if you're starting from the city, there's just a lot of like suburban donut to navigate through. Gravel is also interesting in another way insofar as you're constantly kind of moving, maneuvering around your bike, looking for traction. I feel like on some road rides, you kind of just point the bike straight. You keep turning the pedals in the same kind of locked in position and phone it home. Whereas on the mixed terrain ride, you're sitting, you're standing, you're unweighting the front because you're going to hit a bump. Maybe you're sliding forward and backwards, trying to gain more traction. It's just a little bit more interesting from a technical aspect. Reason number 3, speaking of that technical aspect, one thing I do love about gravel is that it is less technical than mountain biking. I am not the best mountain biker. When I go on a mountain bike ride, my main focus is not dying. I don't have that skill level yet to relax and take in the scenery. I'm so focused on trying not to wreck on the trail. But that's not the case with gravel. You can kind of zone out a little bit because there's less traffic. It's not so technical. You can take in the scenery rather than worrying about, the super scary exposure off to your side. So for me, it brings in some technical bits of mountain biking to keep it interesting, but not so technical that you can't let your mind wander a little bit and take in the scenery. Reason number 4 that we love riding on gravel is that it just feels a little bit more adventurous. There's always that moment when you cross that threshold where it says pavement ends. Welcome to the great unknown. The sign is slightly foreboding, mixes in a sense of uncertainty that just makes the bike ride more adventurous feeling. That leads into the 5th reason that we love gravel riding is that it takes you to interesting places. Here in Montana and places where we've ridden in Oregon and Idaho, the gravel roads lead to some cool fishing spots, awesome camping, through state park, just lots of really interesting places to visit by bike. Those are the 5 reasons we love riding on gravel, but I know what you're thinking. In the current day and age with a supply shortage, I can't even get a hold of a gravel bike. What should I do? Well, my friends, let me tell you about today's sponsor, the Pros Closet. I know. Despite the name, they've got more than just plastic roadie bikes. Check out this sweet pre-loved Moots Cyclo X with rear suspension, or this super practical Mozzie Special Randonneur Elite gravel bike with a dyno light and fenders, because that's how you know it's an elite gravel bike. Or this totally baller hand-built tie bike from Engine Cycles. The best part is all these bikes are certified pre-owned, so that means the master mechanics inspect, wash, and replace the parts, so it's in excellent riding condition. It's sort of like a Craigslist, but with baller bikes and way less sketchy. So head on over to the Pros Closet and find the bike of your dreams today and use the coupon code for free shipping. Thanks to Pros Closet for sponsoring this video. If gravel riding is so great, what could you possibly hate or dislike about it? The first big dislike is access. We're super fortunate insofar as it's like a 2 or 3 minute ride to some gravel, and not everyone has access like that. Just like mountain biking trails, it's not accessible to everyone geographically. The next thing we hate about gravel rides, or in particular planning a gravel route, is that oftentimes when you're planning a gravel route, it's a big guessing game. You don't know if that gravel road is still there. You don't know if it's an old logging road or service road that hasn't been used in decades, so it's just like a track through some tall grass. Is it public land or private land? Is it public land and someone just put up a no trespassing sign? There's a lot of uncertainty in the whole planning process, which is definitely not for everybody. Contrast that to planning a paved route. If you can drive the little virtual car on Google Maps, chances are you can ride your bike there. Thing number 3 that we don't like about riding the gravel is that surfaces vary and there isn't kind of an agreed kind of nomenclature about what constitutes a gravel ride. For some, a gravel ride is a mix of roads, either paved roads or unpaved roads. For others, it has to include single track, and those kind of proportions between road and trail are different for everyone. Also, some gravel rides, you could ride with a 30mm tire. Some you need a full-on mountain bike tire. So riding someone's random gravel route can be a little bit tricky because you don't know what their expectations are, if they match up with yours. But then again, that's part of the fun, I guess. Fourth reason we don't like gravel, it's actually a reason why we like it and why we don't like it, go figure, is that it can be really remote. Here in Montana, it's pretty easy to wind up on a gravel road where if something went sideways, you'd have to kind of self-rescue. That's not the case everywhere, but there is a chance for far more remoteness where the margins of error if something goes wrong is a lot slimmer than if you're on a paved road ride and there's constantly traffic going by. If you're not used to that level of remoteness and kind of the self-sufficiency it requires, it can be a little bit unnerving. The fifth reason that we sometimes hate riding gravel is that it's hard to connect destinations. Unlike paved roads, which generally connect towns and cities and hamlets and services, oftentimes on a gravel ride, it just goes out to nowhere. One of the aspects that we loved about paved bike touring was traveling through towns and cities, walking through Main Street, checking out the shops and the coffee shops, all that good stuff. You can't really do that on a gravel ride or a gravel tour. Oftentimes the spaces and elevation between services can be huge. You'll just see nothing but dirt, your tire, and that's it. Which is great. We do appreciate that, but sometimes we like to go through towns as well. What do you guys think of the list? Do you guys agree or disagree? Is there something I missed? Am I completely wrong? Let me know in the comments below. I'm sure you already have. Thanks to the Pros Closet for sponsoring this video. Check out the links below for a discount code and give them a follow on YouTube. They're starting to come out with some cool video content. As always, everybody, keep the supple side down.